How long is a lifetime? I'm Nicole Smith. Welcome to Verity Inc. Nicola, this one's for you. I said I would try and explain my thoughts on how Mason ended up looking so much older in such a short amount of time, and I hope this theory makes sense. It's what I started to apply shortly after Mark passed. I have it in my head that because he lived 14,711 days, that I'm only going to have to do 14,711 days after he's gone before I get to go home and be with him and Jesus. So, whether I'm right or not, we'll know January 4th, 2061. But it's somewhat irrelevant. The reason that I started to use that sort of a framework was the first day after Mark passed felt really long. And I told myself I have to do this 14,711 times. By day 2, once I put 48 hours in, that 14,711 had been cut in half already. So now I'm only doing 7,000 and some odd amounts of this amount of time. After a year, I only have to do that 39 more times. By the time I hit 20 years, I will only have to do that amount of time once more. And it's amazing, if you look back and reflect on your life, how much it all just feels like one lifetime, doesn't it? When we're little and time moves so slow, I think this is part of what's going on. A newborn baby after one day isn't just 40 years younger than a 40-year-old. He's 14,000 times younger. And that number gets smaller. When my son is playing with a 6-year-old neighbor, and he's 9, and he's not understanding why this kid can't do as much as he can, I have to remind him, he's only 2/3 as old as you are. It's not just that he's 3 years younger, it's that he's only lived 2/3 the amount of life that you have. When we're younger, and we're looking at things like, I remember thinking the Titanic happened so long ago. Well, when you're 10, it's like 10 lifetimes ago. And you feel that. By the time you're 100, it's only one lifetime ago. Time changes, I think, because of this, because our perspective changes, but we're always viewing things as in relation to ourselves. One day feels really long when you're a kid because it's a reflection of a bigger percentage of how long you've been here than when you're an adult. I think our memories, our experiences, and the way we process things all factor into this. I don't know if that made sense. I hope it did. Practically speaking, I think it's helpful sometimes. I think, especially when we're talking about things like end of life, somebody might be given 3 to 6 months to live. That means that 1 month is 1/3 of all the time that's left. You appreciate time different because of the percentage that it is of what's remaining, not just because we're still counting in days or weeks. And if you're not in that mindset with a person who's getting ready to depart, you're not appreciating it the same way. When you're trying to navigate relationships for your kids and there's a bigger age gap, it's important to recognize the amount of life as a percentage that happens in those few years. I think a lot of life happens in those percentages. Beyond that, I'm not sure if I'm making sense.